before we replace the pump, we need to bleed the pressure out of the system. On the underside of the power distribution box is a schematic showing that where the fuel pump relay is in the actual fuse box. We'll remove that relay. So we're going to crank the vehicle over. What this does is it'll drain the pressure without the fuel pump running. You can hear it attempt to start, but it's low on pressure. Okay, now that we've drained the pressure out of the system, we'll open up the system and install our pressure gauge. Before we start the installation of this fuel pump, we're going to remove the negative battery cable. Now we will raise the vehicle in order to gain access to the fuel tank. Take the carbon canister off. That gains us access to the fuel line fittings right here. And again, these are a pitch type connector. So we kind of push them together and then pinch it. You will have some fuel leakage. Always catch any residual fuel that may drip. Now that we've got the two fuel lines disconnected, we'll have to unhook the filler neck. And we'll remove the retainer bolts for the tank straps. These straps are completely removable out of your way. After we've gotten the straps out of the way, now we can lower the tank and disconnect the wiring harness. And this particular application has two electrical connectors, one to the fuel pump and sending unit and one to the tank pressure sensor. Some applications have only one. Once we have the tank out from underneath the vehicle, we really need to concentrate our efforts on cleaning the top of the tank, so whenever we take the fuel pump out of the tank, we do not allow any contaminants into the tank. We have the fuel lines. We'll go ahead and disconnect them. Again, they're just a pinch retainer. And then the second one is an emissions line. Remove it. We have a locking tab here. You need to be sure and release it. Be sure and use a non-ferrous punch. Take the ring off. Sometimes we have to slightly move the pump up to do this. You need to look at the locking ring. This one looks good. Because it's a module type assembly, you've got a plastic can that's going to have fuel in it. When you remove the pump out of the tank, you need to be sure and try to capture as much of that fuel as possible and keep it safely away from any ignition sources. As you can see, after we've removed this module assembly, you see that the strainer is slightly discolored and you can see the darkness in it. That is a telltale sign that the tank does have some contamination inside it. Even if your fuel pump strainer does not show these signs, we always recommend cleaning the inside of the tank. Before we dispose of the old module, we need to remove these fuel line retainers. We just take a small screwdriver and move it out and just slide it off the end of the tube. And we'll need to do that for both the pressure and the return line, and we will reuse these on the new module. Everything is included in the box and the packaging that you will need to reinstall the pump. New electrical connector, the new tank seal, and new wiring crimp connectors. The sending unit arm is attached to the side of the module in two locations with tape. Also, you'll notice on the end of the sending unit arm is a red protector that will have to be removed. Now we're going to install the sending unit arm into the sending unit card. Be able to hear it snap into place. We'll put the tank seal on the module assembly and we'll bring it up about halfway. This type of tank seal ring does fit rather tightly, and sometimes it is best to use a type of silicone or lithium lube around the sealing surface between the pump and the tank ring. Make sure it's setting smoothly all the way around the entire sealing surface. Note the locating tab. Now we'll install the tank ring, push the module down into location. We'll set the tank ring on. We'll hold it down while we start the tank ring, locking ring into position. Once we get it started, then we'll take our brass punch and hammer. You'll note the locking tab is in location on the tank ring. Take the fuel line retainers that we removed from the old module and we'll install them onto the new module. These are two different sizes. You have a 3/8 and a 5/16. We'll install them into the location. Just force it on and hear the click, audible click. We'll install the emissions line, which goes in the center. It has a retainer that is part of the connection. Then we'll install the last line. Again, we need to make sure that the retainer is lined up properly with the fitting. You'll hear it click, and at that point the lines are installed. We're ready to go back into the vehicle. Now with the tank up, almost in position, we need to reinstall the electrical connector. We need to be sure that the locking tabs for the electrical connector do engage. Okay, we install the straps to hold it in location. We need to remove the filler from the filler tube. Then we will install the filler hose into its location. At this point, we will reattach the fuel lines. We need to be sure that the retainers are lined up with the fuel line fitting and audibly hear it snap into location. Reinstall the carbon canister. There's 3 lines that we'll hook onto it. Now we will reattach the filler to the body and refill the tank. Also go ahead and reattach the negative battery cable. We will have to reinstall the fuel pump relay. Cycle the key 2 to 3 times to prime the system, and we will start the vehicle.